So as I mentioned, this is where all our media will be. There are a number of ways to get your media into here. I'll show you the two ways which are kind of default in here, and I'll show you the third way, which is the best practice for me to making sure that everything stays together. So first off, we can go to File and Import, and here's our project, and I've placed the footage into the same folder where we saved our project. Now once I double click into here, it may not show the same as yours because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be adding more footage than is already here, but this is where I'm starting with. This, as I said, we play. I say we play. This is also a creative process for me. So what we end up with at the end may not be what I intended at the beginning, purely because if there's a certain part within the footage and I think, oh, we could do with something like that, I'll include that as well. I'll drag it in at the time, but it will also be, obviously when you get this course, it will be in here. I'm already thinking that I'm going to be putting some kind of photo in here as well. So I'm actually going to select this and put all this footage into a videos folder. So you can have at least a videos folder and an image folder. So that starts the process that I actually want to show anyway. First and foremost, this is the file and import way. And if I double click, if I go to open, that can open that folder. If I go to select an import folder, that will import the whole folder. Not only will that import the contents of that folder, but it will maintain the folder structure. There's an easier way to do this, but that's how you do it. When you double click in this, just like in Finder or Windows Explorer, all the footage comes up here. Now this is all footage from a pizza oven review I did on my YouTube channel. Let me quickly show you what I did with that footage. In fact, this might be a fun little exercise. I'm going to open the project that I made my review in. So here is the project. This is the first time we've actually seen anything on the timeline. I'm fully aware of that. Let me point out a couple of things before we go any further. Firstly, if you're wondering what I look like, there I am. Better looking or worse looking than you thought? Don't answer that question. So if I zoom out, this is a project on the timeline. What can you first see? Okay, well, first off, you can see that there are small little thumbnails as you look through this footage. Now, those are actually representations of the footage themselves. However, you can also see that on this video, these are two different colors. Because remember when I talked about labels, I go to Preferences and Labels. As you can see, this right here is what Premiere Pro call Iris. And this right here is what Premiere Pro call Caribbean. No, Forest. Yeah, I'd say it's forest. I can't get it close, but yeah. Or green. It's some form of green. And the reason why we use these colors, and I don't use it in all projects. I do use it in pretty much complicated projects. And I use it because at a glance, I can see what I'm looking at. So I know that all the iris, or what you and I would call blue, are the pieces to camera. So that's also known as A-roll. The green is what I've done second camera. So it was actually me, if I just mute this so it doesn't play back, it was me looking at this pizza oven. And I can see at a glance when I'm showing this kind of footage and when I'm showing this kind of footage. I know you don't understand everything that you're looking at right now. Don't worry. I'm not just going to assume that we are covering this, I promise. But what I want to show you is the footage that you've got, what can be done with it. So here I am talking, and here's other footage that you don't have, which was explaining what I was doing at the time. But if I move along to here, if you've already looked at some of the footage, you will recognize this footage. Now, if you've already played it back, you will know that it plays back like this.
You're doing it.
Ready?
Yeah, I'll follow you.
That's my lovely wife, Emma.
Good.
And that's it in real time. Now, what I've done is I've slowed it down. And I've also played around with the colour. Again, we will cover this. But very briefly, look. You see how just with a few cuts and slowing the footage down, we actually have something that's presentable and looks really nice. Few more colours on there, a bit more saturation than you've seen in the footage that I've sent you. We'll go over exactly how to sort that out too. So that's just a brief look at what we're actually going to be doing and playing with and how the footage can be manipulated. See that? Autosave comes up all the time. I'm just going to control an S there as well, so that updates my actual project file. That's always a good thing to remember as well. When you're saving your file, if you see autosave come up and you're not busy and you're here on your keyboard, just hit Control and S and that will save as well. So that will not only save in your autosave, but it will bake it in to your current project file as well. So everything marries up. It's a habit that you will get into. So let's close this project right now because we're not quite there yet. And we're back into our project. So remember, we've imported the videos and we're right here. We did that by File and Import. Now, the other way to do it, if I get rid of that, I Control and Z. By the way, if you don't know the shortcut Control and Z, that is probably one of the most important shortcuts you will ever learn. Control and Z is undo. It undoes the last thing you did. We'll cover that in much more detail in the future. So that's how we did it. We did it for File and Import. The other way is to double click into this space and it will open the last place you were in Premiere Pro. So that's opened up this here with the videos. If I go back one and I import folder again, that does the exact same thing. Here's all the footage in here. Now let's get rid of that one more time. Control and Z gets rid of that. And the other way to get it is, here's our footage here. Here's the videos and here's all our videos here. You can simply drag and drop one file and it's straight into here. Let me undo that. If we come back one and grab that folder, drag it in and drop, it brings in that folder. Very much like when we hit import and selected the folder, import folder here. However, the easiest way I find is to build everything into here in all the different folders. So let's say we look at the folder that I had originally for the pizza oven. So I've got my renders here, which are all the different types of render that I put out. I've got my images right there. There's thumbnails for the review, builds, all that, and screen grabs for the client, and also video. Hold on. There's more than one video because the main camera was the A7 III. So that was the main camera when I was doing my unboxing and my bit to camera. There is the A6300, which is my second camera, which had the second angle when I was unboxing. And I also had the zoom, which I didn't actually end up using, but this was actually a recording of a zoom with the owner of the company. I didn't end up using that footage, but the easiest way to get all of that in, I don't need the renders because the renders wasn't there at the time, but if I select video and hold down Control and select images, that's all of those together. If I then drag that in, that drags in two folders. Now what I need to point out is the terminology. This looks like a folder. In fact, it has a folder icon. However, this is not what it's called in Premiere Pro. This is called a bin. So that's a bin for my video and that's a bin for my images. But hold on, that says there's 4 items. Okay, there's 4 folders, but then there's 4 videos in there on the A6300, there's 3 videos in there, and the B-roll, wow, I mean, there's cooking there, which is 28 items. You get what I'm saying. But I dragged in the whole folder. Yeah. So in the folder /bin, there's another 4 items in there, and there's 2 items in the zoom. There's 5 items in the B-roll. Okay. Ah, that's where we're going. And there's 28 items. There's all the footage there. You get what I'm saying? So if you drag in, by the way, it doesn't always load straight away. It depends on the speed of your computer. But if you drag in the folders already in the hierarchy that you want, they all come in that way. So we've got video in images, and then we can deep dive into them. Is that clear? I think so. Anyway, let's get rid of those, and let's bring back in the original footage that we were using, which is here. Footage, videos. Let's drag this in for now. And these are the files that you have, the video files that you have. I may even add some more, we'll see, for the pizza oven. Now, see that autosave? Control S. I'm happy with that. So that is the different ways to import footage. Now we need to understand that footage.